Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Think Theory. I am Brian Arizari, and today we're going to be reacting to a piece that's kind of blowing up in the entire internet. And if you've pretty much been on the internet for the last 48 hours, you have probably seen the search and rescue mission gone for the submarine that I guess just went lost. I'm be honest with you guys, I just kind of saw it trending and I was curious, so I hopped on here to see it. So I'm gonna it's gonna be a blind reaction. It's the first time that I'm ever reacting to it, and we're gonna see two videos. The one video is going to be from the CEO of the company, or I guess the individual that owns a submarine, talking about the submarine, and then I have another one by Ben Shapiro that we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tackle. So let's get right into that.
We are inside the submersible Titan, which is a carbon fiber and titanium sub that can go to the depths of the Titanic.
Pretty lightweight
Hi, my name
material.
is Stockton Rush.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
CEO and founder.
Is that, dude, that's it? That is really, that looks small. That looks small from the outside.
Of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house.
Dude, so there's like 5 people, if I understand this correctly, that are in this boat, and each one of them are supposed to take a crap in that. Can that even hold that many people's waste, let alone for how many hours they've been there? Oh my gosh. Could you, like, is that also another thing that's going to happen too? Because, like, if they're going to the bathroom there, I wonder what happens to the waste. Does it go out? And if it doesn't, like, that's another issue for concern as well, aside from running out of oxygen, of course.
You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music.
I wonder how private that privacy screen actually is. What the?
We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back.
No, that is incredibly small.
Taking a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all.
What the fuck is this?
Run with this game controller.
I would never. I would never. You came to me. Listen, even if you didn't tell me how this worked, maybe this is a common thing. I don't know. But he said we're taking an entirely new approach. And even if you're like, yeah, we got a submarine, it's great, we've, taken multiple trips. Like, the minute that I see him whip out that controller, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not. What? This is a Logitech gaming controller.
And these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go.
Look how small this is. There's 5 people in this? There's no way. There's no way. There's got to be like some room back there or something. There's no way. He's one person. Look how much room he's taking.
Go back, turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case. This is the second year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions.
I don't know, man. Something about that just makes it super. Like, what if the Bluetooth stops working? And you, like, is there a way to overwrite that so you can manually, like, move it? Like, are there some physical levers or whatever that you can flip to I don't know. That's just.
We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic.
10 dives? 10 dives? And he clearly is not hiding the way he controls it. There's no way that a single person didn't think that.
We did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by, we call mission specialists, who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and.
Okay, so I think that this is the guy who is, like, in the submarine as well too. That's like lost.
See thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what the wreck is like now, and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future.
Why? Why is that so important? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, someone help me understand why is that so important? Like, genuinely. Like, maybe he's just curious. Like, is that like kind of like a hobby that he does? Because that seems like a really expensive and dangerous hobby. But hell, who am I to stop him,
It's continuing to decay, and it seems to be accelerating. It's being eaten by a bacteria, so it's literally being eaten by the ocean. It's not rusting away. So these things that are called.
Okay, See, if I would have just waited, I would have gotten my answer.
Crusticles are actually the byproduct of a bacteria that eats the iron. And as it does that, these decks are collapsing. The promenade deck continues to collapse forward. We saw some of the railing is starting to lose its structural strength, which is really a sad thing. That's when it's going to stop looking like the Titanic.
Oh, man. All right. I take that back.
The interest in the Titanic is the reason we go there. Because people are willing to fund this kind of exploration and science, and that gives a completely different research component that almost nowhere else in the deep ocean can.
Like, on a completely side note, dude, the ocean scares the crap out of me. I mean, just look at it. Look at it. And it goes down so much. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It gets me uneasy. Like, I'll be in there and I'll do what I got to do if I have to, you know what I mean? But
can you get funding to go back every year for decades and see how coral reefs develop and see how metals decay and see how currents change? I mean, that just, you can't justify that. No government will pay for that. Nobody wants to go back to just some old reef, but people do want to go back to the Titanic. And that's why we go, is because people want to go.
See, like, I'm not going to lie, there's actually kind of a part of me, though, that even regardless of being, like, scared of the ocean and stuff like that, like, dude, that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And I can't even tell you what fascinates me about it, aside from the fact that we kind of just know the history of the Titanic. And it's like, man, like, to think that so many people lost their lives in this particular, I guess, structure or boat, rather, cruise, that's what it is, right? And, like, it was just, like, it became such a prominent part of history. And, there's a part of me that's like, man, I kind of would sort of want to, like, see it, but then, like, I just wouldn't put myself in that situation, though, so, but that's just me. All right, so the next video we're watching is by Ben Shapiro. I think this just gives more further details on what's going on. This was uploaded an hour ago, so it's probably the most recent that I can find, at least, so.
The story that is just riveting the entire...
Let me take off closed caption for those, you know what I mean?
Entire world right now is this insane story about a missing Titanic tourist sub. It is absolutely shocking, and again, the drama is playing out in real time.
That's like the scary part, bro. It's happening in real time. People are like tuning in everywhere. Like, there are definitely like I don't know. I can't imagine being in a situation where, like, you know, someone that's on there and you're watching this play out live. You know what I mean? Like, that just seems so stressful, so just anxiety ridden. But also, like, stupid question, but like, maybe you guys want to have an answer, but like, how did it just go offline and no one knows what it's at? Like, I don't understand how. Don't we have like sonar and advanced technology to be able to see where they're at? Or is it just because there's definitely like different currents underneath it and the boat just kind of goes? Like, did the boat die in terms of like its propelling ability? Why couldn't it come back up? Like, I'm so confused. Like, how do we know that it lost contact fully? You know what I mean? Like, that's where those are the questions that I have. And again, there's so many different things that I don't know how or where to find the information where it's reliable. So,
as of this morning, there were less than 24 hours of oxygen on board the missing OceanGate Titan submarine, according to an estimate from the U.S. Coast Guard. So essentially, there was a very small vessel. It launched a journey on Sunday with 96 hours of oxygen on board to go down to the bottom of the ocean where the Titanic sank and go look at the ruins of the Titanic. And then the thing basically just went missing. It went missing and it never emerged. The passengers have been identified as the OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, a French mariner named Paul-Henri Nargeolet, British businessman and explorer Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman Dawood. Apparently, it's a 5-person submersible. It weighs 20,000 pounds, and it is capable of diving 13,120 feet.
Like, I know that none of us can ever know truly when when it is that we're going to go do something that's going to be the last thing we ever do. But you know how, like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I think about that, and maybe that's just a dark place to go, but it's like, you're so excited to do this one thing. Like, they've done plenty of trips. Everything's been good. And then your one trip happens to be like the trip that just, ends it. You're just not coming back.
Apparently, Canadian aircraft have been deployed to try and find this thing. They're searching an area the size of Connecticut.
Aircraft?
They picked up underwater noises in the...
Aircraft? I don't know why. I'm curious to why aircraft. I would have thought boats, maybe?
Search area. and they have now deployed resources to try to rescue this submarine. 3 C-17 aircraft, according to the Daily Wire, from the U.S. Air Force reportedly landed.
Damn. 3 C-17s are not a small airplane, but I'm assuming they have them deployed just so they can see if they've submerged or emerged somewhere.
At a cargo terminal in St. John's, Newfoundland, carrying unmanned vehicles capable of going 19,000 feet underwater, as well as 2 heavy-duty Hyundai winches, emblazoned 6,000-kilogram line pole, a huge roll of cable, 2 large machines that had high voltage on their sides. The equipment was then taken to a port where a ship dubbed the Horizon Arctic was scheduled to leave at midnight, although the journey to the area where Titan is submerged would take fully 15 hours.
Wow.
The Titan may be as deep as 12,000 feet below the surface and weighs apparently 10,432 kilograms. So both winches would be necessary to pull it out. Apparently, late on Tuesday night, banging sounds were reported coming.
So it died. Like it died. Like it lost. It sounds like by the sounds of it, anyways. It sounds like it lost power, or they're assuming that when they find it, there's unfortunately not going to be any life there, which is why they're going to have to pull it out. That's sad.
In 30-minute intervals near where the Titan went missing with its passengers. The fact that people got on this rickety craft in the first place is rather astonishing.
All right, so I'm not the only one who thought that. You guys, am I crazy? Did you guys think the same thing? Because
there's a video a few years ago of the OceanGate CEO trying to explain this submersible. Suffice it to say that it basically looks like somebody took a water heater and a Nintendo joystick and some Christmas lights and riveted all that crap together and was like, what if we just dump you 13,000 feet under the water? It really is quite frightening stuff. Here's some background on the dumb submersible.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush.
Okay, so we already watched this, but I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Okay, so yeah, people paid apparently $250,000 a pop.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that much. Holy crap! There's 5 people. One of them was the owner. So what is that? Freaking $1 million. Holy.
To go out in this thing. That is some bad judgment, because a lot of the former guests in the submersible, they're like, yeah, it turns out that when you hook up a bunch of garden hoses to a water heater and then grab a Nintendo 64 joystick and use it to control this jerry-rigged thing, and the great feature of it is that it has a poop hole where we have a screen and some music. It turns out that sucks, and you don't really want to be in it.
Okay, I mean, that's pretty much what that's like my thought process. That's where my mind went to. And I don't know, like, I mean, I'm not being, he's Ben Shapiro. He's being as, as blunt as he is. There's nothing wrong with that. But, like, I don't want to say that I'm being that harsh, because, like, man, this guy clearly has a passion for it and he has people backing him and stuff like that. And he's done it before, So it's like, if it isn't broke, why fix it, for lack of better words, But I feel like, as someone, like, if I was in that position and I had this water heater that has a few garden hoses attached to it, and, like, we did some successful dives and we made some money from it, and we have investors, like, how about we begin to then upgrade that? Like, why was that not a thing to make it more suitable for the type of environment? I mean, the sea is relentless, and is a very unforgiving force of nature, especially down in those depths. Like, the pressure is immense. So I'm just surprised that, like, money wasn't, like, put back into it, for lack of better words, to make better quality, more roomier and spacious submarines, if that makes any sense.
And you might die. Here are some of the guests talking about it.
When we went down, it was just, there were communication problems on every trip I've taken. Of the 4 separate dives I'd taken with OceanGate, every time,
oh god,
there was a problem with, at least, sporadically.
What do you mean? Immediately after the first dive, and I made, like, that would be the first thing to fix. What do you mean? Like, that is not a place where you want to cheap out on something like this because of something like this happening.
Communicating with the surface.
Before we went, we had never seen the sub. We didn't know anything about it. There's very little information on the website. I didn't know at that point that you drive the thing with an Xbox game controller. I didn't know that the ballast was,
Bro, so you mean to tell me that you didn't know anything about that, and then you got into this situation, and then when you got there, you're like, nah, I'm not going in that. Give my money back? Excuse me. At the very least, like, let's say you didn't see the boat until you were like, or the the submarine until you were like in the middle of the ocean and you didn't want to go down, at the very least, pay the fee that you need to be able to get yourself out there, because you did take that, and take the money back for what it would have cost you that's insane.
Used construction pipes. And then you get the tour, and Stockton Rush, the designer of the sub, the CEO, explains to you that all of this stuff, the lights and the handles and the propellers, these are off-the-shelf parts.
He went to Home Depot and he made a thing.
With all that being said, though, I hope you guys liked the video. This is a little bit of a difficult situation to comment because, honestly, I don't want to imagine the worst outcome, regardless of the financial, regardless of who's in that craft. But if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will keep continuing to do more.